So we have an inspiring session that's all about community, leadership, and growth in the Python ecosystem. Our next speaker, Mr. Kalyan Prasad, will take us through his 6-year journey in Python community organizing. From starting as a volunteer to co-chairing major regional and national Python conferences. He'll share his experiences, challenges, and lessons learned along the way, providing valuable insights for anyone looking to get involved, lead, or grow a thriving tech community. So whether you're just getting started in community involvement or aiming to level up your leadership skills, this session is packed with real-world advice and actionable takeaways. So let's give a warm welcome to our speaker, Mr. Kalyan Prasad.
Thank you. I'm audible? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's my title, from volunteering to co-chair 6 years journey in Python community organizing. Do you understand what it is? No? How many of you are from Manila here? Only one? Okay. Two? Okay. I think that's your language. It means that Magandang Hapon, which means good afternoon, everyone. Excited to be here at PyCon and APAC with all of you. Do you know what is this? It means that Mukang Buso Pakayo Satangalin. You understand what it means? That everyone seems like, full from their lunch. I know you all had a great tight lunch, but I'll try to keep the session as much as engaging so that, you all will not fall in food coma, right? So now that we are all pretty much settled, so I want to start with something important, right? Communities are built by people who show up. 6 years ago, I was just like many of you, attending my first Python meetup and learning and wondering how I could contribute. Today, I'm here standing as a chair for one of the major Python conferences from India, right? How did all that happen? Right? Let me explain you through my journey. So what's the agenda for today's talk is in the next 27 or 28 minutes, right? I'll try to talk about how all I started my journey, from volunteering to chair roles, what kind of challenges that I have faced, in throughout this journey, and also some of the best tips that I can help you with. New folks. So whether you're already involved with the community or thinking to get started, I believe my experiences will somehow inspire you. Please do let me know once my talk is done. Right. And now that we know that showing up is really important, so why community actually matters, right? For both open source as well as for individuals. Right, so I have created 3 interesting, realistic points why actually community matters with real-time examples and experiences. So open source thrives on collaboration, not on lone genius, meaning that you cannot. When you try to collaborate with different teams, or when you try to engage with teams, that's how you grow. So I learned this in a very hard way, starting from my first job to first project. It was all possible because of Python community. So when I was working on my first project, I got stuck. And so that's where I asked the concern in one of the meetups. And the conversation that I had with the one person has changed everything, right? To give you some realistic example, today 70% of a Python libraries are built by teams, not by individuals, right? And the next point is communities turn strangers into mentors, friends, and families. Of course, the person whom I sat next at my meetup was one of my mentors and chairs today. And a lot of people that I met during this 6 years of journey, has become some of my extended family friends as well, right? And finally, this is very important. Your career grows when you lift others. So when I was starting, when I was starting to getting involved in the Python community, my employer actually noticed, and they were very helpful in supporting things that what I was doing, because I was stepping out of my regular routine work, and they were very happy in seeing such things, because I was learning new things and I was trying to get back those fresh ideas to teams, right? So it was not just about the technical expertise, but it's all about growing initiatives, taking initiatives and growth, right? What I also noticed is, 60% of PyCon attendees who network in the conferences leads to better opportunities. So I think maybe some of you who are sitting here might got an opportunity while attending a PyCon conference, or you might be one who soon get an opportunity, right? So networking always helpful in the conference. Now that we understand why community matters so much, right? So let's talk about the journey, how I started my early career days as a volunteer, right? So I have pretty much categorized this into two types, right? How it was before volunteering and how it was actually starting the volunteering. So let's talk about it before first. So it was, so as you can see, it's a newbie to Python, because I'm not from a computer science background, neither I have a technical degree. I'm altogether a non-technical guy. And I transitioned my career from non-tech to tech in 2018. At the time when I was learning Python, it was altogether a new programming language for me. And of course, it was too overwhelming for me, because when I was looking at those error bugs, trying to fix those things, right, it was really overwhelming for me. And and that's how I was started browsing through internet and found called PyCon Hyderabad 2019. So PyCon Hyderabad is basically one of the biggest regional Python conference that happens in Hyderabad. So I just found it randomly on the internet, and I was curious to see what this is all about. And I just went to one of their meetups. Okay, and the meetups that they used to do is very far. So I used to commute 46 kilometers from my place to attend that 1 hour meetup. So in order to attend that 1 hour meetup, I used to travel for 3 hours because of the 1 hour meetup. That's how it was. But what made me motivated is I was very curious to understand tech ecosystem and community ecosystem, and I was showing interest regularly while traveling this 46 kilometers. So I consistently traveled for 2.5 months, and so because of the consistency, the passion that I was showing to for volunteering, so that's how I got a first volunteering opportunity. So if you look at the after part, so that was my first volunteering opportunity. So they have given me as a room monitor. So one of the room monitor who is sitting here is right. So it's the same job that I got in my first volunteering opportunity. So my role was to handle mic and sound issues. So passing mics to audience when they have a Q&A, or fixing the speaker mic issues and all. So during this process, what I actually learned is how to manage the crowd and how to fix the mics, how to fix the sound issues. So this is what I learned in my early days as volunteer. So to conclude it, right. So you can also see here is one of the picture from 2019 where I was a room monitor, trying to fix one of the speaker mic. So to summarize, so volunteering is not just about task; it's learning to lead. Meaning that, so at the first, I thought it was just all about doing small tasks like doing a room monitoring, or passing mics or fixing some foundation. That's what I thought. But over the time, what I realized is it was much more. So stay tuned. What will come next, right? Getting into a leadership role. So getting into the leadership roles was not that easy, but I'll tell you how it all happened. So in 2019, I became a core member of HydePy. HydePy is nothing but Hyderabad Python user group, so which is one of the biggest Python community in India. It has close to 16,005K user base. And what Hyderabad Python user community will do is they basically promote Python and open source ecosystem in the community. So we regularly do meetups on different areas where Python is actively involved, and also we also do hackathons. And we are the one who are the organizers for PyCon Hyderabad. So in 2019, I got into a HydePy community. So earlier it was all just about attending meetups and all. But as soon as I get into the HydePy, right, so it was not just about attending meetups. So I was also responsible for organizing and planning the meetups. So that's one of the responsibility jobs that I got when I get into the core team. And in 2020, I presented my first talk. I still remember it was in the February month end in 2020. Post the talk, pandemic triggered. We know how the situation of pandemic is, right? But the good thing is, after presenting when I thought of presenting a talk, right? So it pushed me from my comfort zone. So I took a initiative to present a talk, and which really help in building my confidence, communication, and also a technical expertise. And in 2022, I became a co-chair for PyCon Hyderabad 2022 and PyCon India 2023. So PyCon Hyderabad, as I mentioned, it's a regional Hyderabad-based conference, and PyCon India is again a national level conference. I'll talk in detail about the scale of these two conferences, how it will be, and all in the coming slides. Right. So from organizing meetups to leading a conferences is a very big leap in my career. I took so becoming a co-chair is not an easy job. So if you are chair for one of conference, you have to oversee and manage a lot of things, like starting from finding a venue, finding a speakers, to getting the logistics things done. So you have to keep a tab on a lot of teams. You have to keep track a lot of teams. You have to work with the different teams and all. That's how you get into it. And finally, chairing PyCon Hyderabad 2025. So PyCon Hyderabad 2025 just happened last week on the same day. So we concluded the conference last week, and I'm here today. So it's a full circle moment for me, from a meetup organizer to chairing a conference, right? So it all started with a normal volunteer to chair in the 6-year span of a time, right? So that's a very great step in my career, and I learned a lot of great things throughout this journey. So I'll talk about some of the interesting stuff over the next slides. So to conclude, again, leadership is not just title, right? It's taking responsibility when other hesitates. So meaning that so you actually need to step up when things need to be get done, right? So that's how you do it as a leader. So I found myself for taking responsibility when other people used to hesitate. So that's how I get into a leadership role. So when you take as an initiative from your end, so when others are trying to hesitate, so that's how you improve in yourself and also get into a leadership roles. Now, getting into leadership was not just about responsibilities. I also used to face a lot of challenges, right? So my leadership journey was not pretty much smooth. So it involves identifying the problems, adapting to these changes, and communicating those things effectively. So here are some of the challenges that I have faced throughout my journey. Post-COVID in-person events. So we all know, right, pandemic 2 years was very panic and all. So in 2022, I think things got slightly settled down. But when we are trying to do a post-COVID in-person event in 2022, so it was still fear in people that because the trauma has a lot of impact on people. So we were also a little hesitant whether people will show up for the in-person conference or not. So that's one thing. And other side, logistics were also uncertain. And we had to ensure, create a safe environment, so making sure that the event runs successfully, right? So those sort of things were little skeptical when we are trying to do the in-person event. But what we have done is, so we have just experimented things, and we made the event successfully. So in 2022, when we organized the PyCon Hyderabad, right? So it was a 3-day conference. One day is full of conference, one day is full of workshop, and another one is full of dev sprint. And we successfully made the conference. So a lot of people attended, people enjoyed doing the networking, people had a great time at the conference. So it was all like experimental, but we were worried at the initial days, but at the end, it was all successful. Handling miscommunications, right? So when you work with a different team, so miscommunications are inevitable. Like starting, for example, coordinating with the speakers or coordinating with a venue team. So there could be a lot of miscommunication. So that small issue of a miscommunication will lead to a big issue, right? If you are not able to communicate things thoroughly, this could lead, if there is some sort of a miscommunication happening, that could definitely create a very big issue. So what is the key takeaway that we have taken is to over communicate and ensure we get a clarity on it. So over communicate in the sense, it's not like every time you should over communicate. So you should over communicate when you notice a thing where there is a miscommunication happening. So that you should keep on iterating until you get a clarity on it, right? And team conflicts, of course. So all the Python conferences are volunteer-driven conferences. So a lot of passionate people, come and work together. So disagreements will definitely happen because everybody has their own set of opinions, right? So, so in my leadership journey, so it's not about avoiding conflicts, right? So it's about how you are handling or how you are solving the problems constructively. So meaning that, so you have to listen to other people. You have also has to respect the other people's opinion and trying to bring them in a common ground so that everyone feels that their thought process or their initiative is something valued, right? So that's how you grow as a very good team. And finally, convincing sponsors. Oh my God, this is really a tough job. Trust me, right? So other three conflicts are not really create too much challenges, but this is a very tough challenges. So sponsors are sponsors plays a very key role in the event, especially if you want companies to invest in open source events. It's not an easy, right? So it takes a lot of persistence, and you should clearly show the value propositions to them and also make a long-term healthy relationship. It doesn't mean that this time one of the sponsors came and they have sponsored for this year. It doesn't mean it's all over now, tata goodbye. It doesn't work like that. Right? So if you say tata goodbye in this year, so they'll not come and sponsor next year. So what you have to do is you have to make a healthy relationship. Okay, there might be some mistakes. So some maybe they couldn't. They might have not reached their expectations, or we might have not delivered certain things for them. So those sort of a mistake, that is something you can talk and you can try to address those things. So eventually you can build a healthy relationship. Maybe in the next year you can try to fill those gaps so that they'll still come and sponsor. Right, so sponsors, getting a sponsor is not an easy job, and also convincing is not even easy job as well. Right now, what this is a conference behind it. So now you all are sitting here. It's a very good conference that is happening at PyCon APAC. So you feel that very good conference. I am getting my goodies. I am getting my ice creams. I am getting whatever I want, right? Organizers are there. So what's happened behind the scenes, right? So in order to make a successful conference, so these are the things that happen behind the scenes, right? First is planning the conference, right? On what date, on which month, or how many days you need to plan the conference. This is something really important. So it takes a month of a planning to get these things done. So the people who are part in the community or who are in the organization, so you can see different organizers who are sitting here. So they put a lot of time in terms of planning this process from months. So once the planning is on, then they'll make an announcement of submitting proposals. Asking speakers to submit a proposals. Once proposals are got, now selecting a speakers. This is even more tough job, right? While selecting a speakers, you should think about a lot of broader area. It's not something like So Python has a mix of a different flavors, right? So you cannot put all data science tracks or all AI talks in one. So you try to balance it with the different flavors of a talk so that everyone will excel. So always when you have a mixture lineup of a talks, so that people will get excited. So selecting those kind of a talks, it's not an easy job, right? So again, not only on selection, we should also think about the diversity. Like, it's not like always full of a women speakers, or it's not always full of a men speakers. You should try to balance it and also diversify from different regions or different places, right? So that if you have a full mixture of things. And sponsorship outreach and partnership, as I mentioned, so reaching out to sponsors, getting the sponsors on board, everything is not that easy. So again, so there will be a lot of discussions that happens with the sponsor, a lot of negotiation things, all these things will happen. End of the day, you try to onboard a sponsor. It's like, overall kind of a month on journeys that will happen with a first sponsored conversation. Even then, after a successful thing, you onboard them. Activating social media and design teams, because social media is the front face for the conference. Until you push hard promotions on the social media, so your outreach will not reach to audience and all, right? So social media, designing those flyers, designs, so it takes a lot of efforts. And logistics and operations team, yeah, of course, you are seeing a lot of logistics today, right? So in terms of arranging foods or in terms of getting those goodies, things. So there is a lot of effort involved in doing these things. Special events, yeah. So special events is something like, so not doing a typical conference, like, what kind of a new thing that you are trying to do in the conference. For example, what we have done in our conferences is we have done a young learners workshop, so where we bought school kits, okay, which are like, 6th standard, 7th standard kids, and we have given them the Raspberry Pi hardware devices, and they were started playing and they were building some interesting stuff on it. So those sort of a special events, or Pi Ladies Lunch. So all these are kind of a special events that we try to do. And finally, coordinating with volunteers. So it's so any PyCon will not possible without having a volunteers. Now, coordinating with volunteers is even more crazy stuff. So you chase a lot of volunteers. You try to work with the different volunteers with the different work groups to get things done, so that you build a successful conference overall. So these are some of the pictures, in terms of how we do the planning, how we do the meetups, in terms of doing all these things in a successful way, right? And I also want to show you the sneak peek about how we do the things before the conference. So just watch the video. So this is what volunteers actually do one day before the conference, packing all the goodies, attending all the ID cards in a sequence, right? Yeah, and you can also see some more pictures from different things that we have done. So you can see the kids who are building with stuff. So they all given with Raspberry Pi device, and they were building something creative. And you can also see the autos. So what is this auto is all about, right? So we also kept some e-autos in our venue, because our tracks were from slightly different. So you used to walk for 300 meters. So in order to avoid time and all, right, the gap, so we also kept the e-auto, so that all these autos will take you from one track to other track, so that you will not miss the talk, right? So all these autos were continuously roaming the whole day. So there were 15 autos who were taking all the attendees and dropping in at the different tracks and all, right? If you also look at some of the statistics, since I'm a data guy, right? So I also love to show things and numbers. So if you look at this graph, right? So it has a comparison of between the regional and the national level conferences in terms of sponsors and also in terms of the volunteers. So you can see, so the attendee scale at the regional level is somewhere around 300 to 350, and if you look at the national level conference, right? So which is close to 1500 attendees. So imagine managing 1500 attendees is not an easy job, right? So And if you also look at the sponsors, right? So for regional, you have 9 sponsors. For a national level conference, you have a 19 plus 220 sponsors. And look at the size of a volunteers. If it is a regional conference, somewhere around 15 plus, 16 or 15 to 20 people, who do the whole conference work, who people divide in different groups and trying to make the conference success. And if you look at the national level, there are 50 people who works in a different areas to get things done. And in terms of tracks also, for regional conference, sometimes it could be 1 or 2 tracks, and if it is national, somewhere around 3 to 4 tracks, right? Depends upon the venue. So finding finding a venue with a multiple tracks is always a challenging. So you hardly find such venues until, like a universities like this, right? Otherwise, in commercial places, you hardly find multiple tracks venues. Even though you find it, the cost is double, right? So you have to think on all these areas to do all these things. And if you also look at the duration of the conferences, sometimes regionally it could be 2 days, and for national level it could be 4 to 5 days, right? So that's how it differs. So, and this is one of the major part in Python conferences, inclusivity, right? So diversity and inclusivity plays a very key role in Python conferences, because we want all the diverse people to attend Python conference, no matter of your caste, religion, background, whatever it is, right? So we welcome all kind of people to come and attend the conference, right? So during this process, so we have divided the inclusivity into the 4 major areas. First one is scholarships, right? So some of the students who might not able to afford the ticket for the conferences, so for them what we do is we provide a student scholarship, or we provide some free tickets to students, so that they also attend the conference and they learn some new things. So what kind of impact that we create out of it, right? First time attendee conference get increased, right? Because if the students are coming for the first time, right? So of course the level of attendee scale will also increase for the first time. And code of conduct, of course, code of conduct is really important. So Python conference is not just about tech, it's all about the people. So we welcome all kind of a background people to come and attend the conference, and make sure that it is a safe and hassle-free conference. Nobody feel nobody should be in a position that this place is not safe, something like that. So we make sure that every conference of a Python is a safe and secure, so that it's easy for everyone. So we train our volunteers on the code of conduct, so how to deal with the code of conduct and what kind of issues if someone encounter, how to handle those things. So we train our volunteers on the code of conduct. So what kind of impact that we create is we publish the COC transparent reports, and when we publish the COC transparent reports on the public, right? So people will read the reports, and that will create a trust on the conference. So if there are no COC issues, which means that your conference went hassle-free, right? So that is something you are building a trust. Accessibility, of course, as I mentioned, Python conferences are designed for all. So no matter if you are physically challenged or you're like a parent, right? So it's for everyone, right? So we try to put some child care, or we try to also accommodate them healthcare, medical as well, if something is an emergency or important. So we just accommodate them and get things done. So if the person is having handicapped, or if the parent wants to attend the conference, so they can drop their kids at the child care, and if it is a physical handicap, we provide them the wheelchairs and also that they can come and sit in the tracks. And finally, PyLadies, of course. So I'm sure you might have heard about the PyLadies event. So PyLadies is basically empowering more women here. Right, sharing their experiences of a different woman, right, inspiring other women to get into the tech communities, and sharing them and asking people to learn more about things, getting involved in the community, sharing their experiences, no matter what kind of a background you have. So all is that you are trying to share your experiences, and knowing from others, right? So, and also we also include some celebrations in PyLadies as well, right? So that's how we do. So what kind of impact that we see is year-on-year basis. So we saw that 30 to 45% of women speakers got increased, meaning that a lot of women speakers are coming forward and speaking in the conferences, sharing their knowledge. And you can see here are some of the pictures of the PyLadies from different events, right? what kind of a lessons I learned during this process is good, bad, and ugly, right? So good is like sponsors love visibility because that's where their value proposition comes, right? So if they have a very good footfall at their booths and all, that's what the sponsors are happy. And yeah, hybrid events usually reach 2x events. So when if you are trying to do an event online, I think the audience might not turn up show. But if you are trying to do a more physical events, I think a lot of audience will come and engage with the people. Yeah, swag bags with a local flavor, of course, based on your region, country, right? If you are trying to add some local flavor to your swag bags, I think that's where it could be a super hit and people will also love it. Right? For the bad, right? We also assume that HDMI dongles are available at the venue or available at the speaker deck sometimes. So that is something we shouldn't assume. It's always good to carry your own HDMI cables and dongles. Last minute cancellation, of course, some of the speakers might won't show up at the last moment. It's always good to keep a backup speakers, right? If someone won't show up at the time or could be cancelled due to whatever the reasons it is, it's always good to have some backup so that other people can jump in and try to accommodate. Understanding catering needs. So sometimes we underestimate the food capacity, catering capacity, right? But sometimes, so what happens is it could be short sometimes. So it's always good to estimate things in the price so that everyone feels like they got their own food, snacks, and everything, right? Ugly, of course, when your Wi-Fi died in between the mid-sprint, I think that's something you should always keep a tab on the internet, especially if you are working on the sprints. Yeah, speaker laptop died while presenting a talk. Yeah, this has happened with me as well. When I was presenting, I couldn't I couldn't keep a tab on my laptop, and in the middle it got died. It was the switch off. I do not have a backup deck as well somewhere. So yeah, those sorts of things it's always good to do thorough checks on them. And yeah, missing printouts or banners at the registration desk. Sometimes we forget that putting a banner at the registration desk, that's where the audience get confused, right? So these sort of ugly things we always make. So we should make sure that keep a tab on these things so that everything looks cool. Yeah, finally, from community organizing to career to superpowers. So these are the things that personally I have learned and bought in my career. Skill translation, of course, when you are trying to delegate things to your volunteers, so you improve the team leadership skills in your agile. So this also works in your work life, right? So you are able to handle things in your work life as well when you are trying to communicate effectively. And yeah, resolving speaker conflict, again, stakeholder management with clients, and again, negotiating budget. So I don't want to read everything, but these sort of things that you get in your career superpowers. So what you are done is start with small things if you would like to come, if you would want to get involved in the community, and then eventually aim for the big things, right? Yeah. So yeah, volunteering taught me more about leadership than my MBA. So I have MBA degree, but I never got any leadership skills through my MBA. But during this volunteering, I learned a lot of leadership skills. And the best part is everything I learned on free, so I didn't pay anything for it, right? And yeah, of course, thanks to all my mentors and chats. Okay, these are the people who have made a major impact on my career. So these are the people, and of course my HiPy team as well. So all the people who have helped me to grow in these roles, I'm really appreciate for them. And yeah, here are some of the pictures and memories that I have throughout the 6 years of journey in different PyCons, and also during my presentations at different talks. Right, so you can see, so all these are different stocks, right? And one last thing I have is yeah, what does it mean? Okay, so it means that even I'm just reading because I noted it was very hard for me as well. So Salamat Python Kumigot NG Filipinas. It means that thank you Python community of the Philippines. Yeah. Yeah, and yeah, this is my first time I'm presenting a community talk. Other than most of my talks are pretty much on the AI, data, ML side. I speak a lot of technical talks, and this is something first time I'm giving a community talk. Yeah, and yeah, if you have any feedback, questions, concerns, comments, feel free to reach out to me on any of these platforms. And thanks again for the opportunity.